I was talking to somebody today, um, and she was saying that she had been talking to somebody we know, who's a religious man. He's a pastor, and she she asked him, "What is you know?" I guess she said, "What is the Bible, or what does your doctrine say about kind of everything that's happening in the world right now, and where's it going?" And I guess he told her that basically, we're we're in for the second coming. Um, that there's, I hope he's wrong about this, but essentially that we're headed towards World War III. There's going to be apparently some nuclear explosion, and then it'll be the second coming of the Messiah. This is according to scripture, or his scripture. So anyway, so there's that. And then I've been listening to all these different podcasts, and I had this thought, which I'm only half joking about, but if he's right and that actually happens, maybe the Messiah is Elon Musk. And the reason that I had that thought is that Jesus of Nazareth, kind of his really, I think, most prominent attribute was that he spoke truth to power. Now, granted, he himself was not wealthy. He was a carpenter. He was, he eschewed all worldly possessions. But that was really kind of, at least for me, I'm not a religious person, and I'm not deeply learned in the Bible, but I have read the Bible, and I'll probably do that again. I think I want to go through that again. But anyway, my impression of Jesus was that kind of the attribute that he demonstrated that made the greatest impression on me was he just spoke the truth. He spoke his version of the truth. He spoke what he truly believed to everybody, to anybody and everybody, with no fear for the consequences. Kind of like the ultimate courage, right? That's kind of like the scariest thing to do in the world, right? I mean, think about it. Like, there's people in Iran who are speaking the truth, and they're being, punished, shot at, killed by their government. If you speak the truth in Russia, you'll almost certainly be, at the very least, put in jail, if not, worse. Plenty of places in the world where if you speak a truth that's unpopular, it can really affect your life negatively, including here in the United States. I mean, if you say things that are unpopular among certain groups of people, you can really be affected. And I just watched the interview of Elon Musk with Aaron Ross Sorkin of the New York Times. It's a great interview. It's really fantastic. Every time I watch anything with Elon Musk, I'm more and more impressed by him. And it's the interview where he says "F you" to the advertisers who are leaving X. And it just kind of struck me like, here's this guy who, is unafraid to speak truth to power. Now, obviously, a lot of people view him as being powerful, but I think the essence of what makes him really powerful is his willingness to be honest, and uncorrupt. I mean, I think he's really not corrupt. He's about as uncorrupt as anybody I've ever seen, especially at that level. And even though he is very wealthy, he actually has divested himself of a lot of material ownership. He had a number of houses which he sold. I mean, he didn't give them away, so I guess you could criticize that. But he sold. I think he no longer owns any property, or he doesn't own a house, because he decided that running those houses was time that was taking away from his life purpose, which is these things he's involved in, putting humans into space, electric cars, the neural net, etc. So, I think he's someone who is committed to big, worthy goals, and I'm like fully committed, like committed, like nobody has ever been before. Yeah, and he's not fearless. I think he probably feels fear like every other human. He's just that courageous. He's probably one of the most courageous people on earth today. And so, anyway, that was my thought, and felt like getting it out into the world. And when I had that thought, I thought, oh, well, that's ridiculous, and people are going to think that's ridiculous if I say it. So that's part of the reason I said it. I guess that's my own kind of courageous act, is saying something that people might think is crazy. But it's also really just interesting. Elon Musk is an example of someone that I've learned a lot more about over the past few months, that I used to not know anything about, but I used to believe the headlines about him and had a really negative opinion of him. And then since I started looking into him for real, I've just grown very admiring of him, and that's been an interesting journey. And I'm really impressed by the person that he seems to be, and that somebody like this actually exists, I think is really amazing. So, yeah, that's what I think.